2013-2014 Ralph Ellison Lecture. This annual lecture was established to honor the life and work of Ralph Ellison, a Tuskegee alumnus and one of this country's most important writers and thinkers. The programs are intended to recognize Ellison's contributions to American letters and to explore significant issues and topics across a range of academic disciplines. This is the 19th annual lecture, and we're very pleased that you could join us for this event. Before we continue with the printed program, which is on page 4 of the Lyceum booklet, I'd like to recognize a very special guest, Mr. Mike Radd. Mr. Radd was a well-known figure in this area and beyond. For many years, he was director of Johnny Andrew Hospital and oversaw its transformation to the National Center for Bioethics and Research and Healthcare. He was assistant to the president and secretary to the Tuskegee Board of Trustees for 28 years under Dr. Luther Foster. He was also a friend of Ralph Ellison's. They became friends when they attended Tuskegee. And last October, he celebrated his 100th birthday. Mr. Radd, would you please stand? At this time, Ms. Carolyn Hawes will review Ellison's life and work, after which the program will proceed as printed.
Ralph Waldo Ellison was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, in 1913. In 1933, 2 years after graduating from Douglas High School, he entered Tuskegee Institute to study music with conductor and composer William L. Dawson. He left Tuskegee in 1936 for New York City, where he met Langston Hughes and Richard Wright, and began to publish feature articles, reviews, and short stories. Invisible Man, begun in 1945, was published in 1952 and won the National Book Award. In 1965, 200 prominent authors, editors, and critics in a Book Week poll selected Invisible Man as the most distinguished novel published by an American during the previous 20 years. It is still considered one of the most significant works of fiction in American literature. Ellison also published Shadow and Act and Going to the Territory, collections of essays. A portion of his second novel, Unfinished at His Death, was edited by John Callahan and published posthumously in 1999 under the title Juneteenth. The modern library edition of the second novel, titled 3 Days Before the Shooting, was co-edited by Callahan and Adam Bradley and published in 2010. Other posthumous publications include Flying Home and Other Stories, the collected essays of Ralph Ellison, and Living with Music, Ralph Ellison's jazz writings. Training 12, the selected letters of Ralph Ellison and Albert Murray, was published in 2000. In recognition of his achievement, Ralph Ellison was elected to the National Institute of Arts and Letters in the American Academy of Arts and Letters. He served as a trustee of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. He was also a Chevalier of France's Order of Arts and Letters, one of its highest awards for a writer. In 1969, President Johnson awarded Ellison the Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. And in 1985, President Reagan presented him with the National Medal of Arts. He taught at Bard College, Rutgers University, and the University of Chicago, and was named the Albert Schweitzer Professor of Humanities at New York University, one of the most distinguished academic appointments in the country. He received honorary degrees from a number of universities, including Tuskegee. He was also selected as Tuskegee University's Centennial Alumnus, the most outstanding alumnus during the first 100 years. Ralph Ellison died on April 6, 1994. However, his reputation as one of America's most gifted novelists and cultural critics endures. Thank you.
judgment, judgments are coming, judgment, judgments coming, judgment, judgments are coming, judgment, judgments coming.
I see the signs of the judgment coming. I see the signs of the judgment coming. I see the signs of the judgment coming. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. See signs of the judgment to go. See signs of the judgment to go. See the judgment to go. Time is drawing nigh. See signs of the judgment to go. See signs of the judgment to go. Time is drawing nigh.
Better be ready for that great day when the Lord comes and takes his children away. Boatman, from one side, you will help him as he is the wind. Judgments are coming, judgments coming.
See signs of the judgment to do. See signs of the judgment to do. See the judgment to do. Time is drawing nigh. See signs of the judgment to do. See signs of the judgment to do. See the judgment to do. Time is drawing nigh. Run to the mountain moved. I run to the hills and they did too. Went to the rocks to hide my face. The rocks cried out, there's no hiding place. Oh, judgment. One of these mornings, bright and fair, meets my Jesus in the air.
Oh, judgment.
You say that my child, then I shout, hallelujah, my race has been won. See the signs of the judgment. See the signs of the judgment. The time is drawing nigh.
I see the signs of the judgment is coming. I see the signs of the judgment is coming. I see the signs of the judgment is coming. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Lord,
Gotta be ready, ready. Gotta be ready, ready. Gotta be ready. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Lord, gotta be ready, ready. Gotta be ready, ready. Gotta be ready. Hallelujah, hallelujah, better be ready for that great day when the Lord comes and takes his children away.
judgment is coming.
Let's give them another round of applause. concert choir will be performing with other choirs on Saturday at the annual William L. Dawson concert. So I invite you to attend that event. They are always marvelous. It's a pleasure for me to introduce our speaker for today, poet, essayist, editor, publisher, and educator, Haki Madhubuti. Formerly known as Don L. Lee, he was one of the architects of the Black Arts Movement and has been a pivotal figure in the development of a strong African-American literary tradition. He has published more than 31 books of poetry and nonfiction, including Don't Cry, Scream, Tough Notes, A Healing Call for Creating Exceptional Black Men, and Run Toward Fear. His book, Black Men, Obsolete, Single, Dangerous, The African American Family in Transition, published in 1990, has sold more than 1 million copies. His recent releases include Yellow Black, The First 21 Years of a Poet's Life, a memoir, Liberation Narratives, New and Collected Poems, 1966 to 2009, and Honoring Genius, Gwendolyn Brooks, The Narrative of Craft, Art, Kindness, and Justice. A proponent of independent Black institutions, he founded in 1967 Third World Press, which for more than 45 years has published a broad range of works by African American authors and scholars. In recognition of his support of African American writers, he was recently selected as one of 3 recipients of the 2014 Barnes & Noble Writers for Writers Award. His other honors include National Endowment for the Arts and National Endowment for the Humanities Fellowships, the American Book Award, an Illinois Arts Council Award, and the Studs Terkel Humanities Service Award. In 2006, he received the Literary Legacy Award from the National Black Writers Conference. And in 2008, he was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award from Art Sanctuary of Philadelphia. During the 2013 Bridge Crossing Jubilee commemoration in Selma, Alabama, he was inducted into the Hall of Resistance at the Ancient Africa Enslavement and Civil War Museum. Professor Madhubuti received an MFA from the University of Iowa, and his distinguished teaching career includes positions at Columbia College of Chicago, Cornell University, the University of Illinois at Chicago, Howard University, Morgan State University, and the University of Iowa. He was University Distinguished Professor and Professor of English at Chicago State University, where he founded and was Director Emeritus of the Gwendolyn Brooks Center and Director of the Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing program. He also served as the Ida B. Wells Barnett University Professor at DePaul University for 2010-2011. He is a highly sought-after lecturer, and we're delighted that he accepted our invitation to present this year's Ralph Ellison Lecture titled Words Matter, What It Means to be Black and Literate in the 21st Century, and the Importance of Art in the Maturation of All People. Please join me in welcoming Haki Madhubuti.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here because Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, will certainly be the men and women who built this wonderful university. They have a very important part, play an important part in my life, as well as the lives of most Black people, even though they may not know it. I was able to visit the Legacy Museum today, and I went to the archives. Very impressed, and wondered why it is not, these two institutions, within an institution, are not well known outside of Alabama. But let me first bring greetings to you from my family. My wife, Dr. Carol Lee, our children, and from the institutions that we built in Chicago. Of course, Third World Press, which is celebrating 46 years, which I founded in 1967, $400 in a mimeograph machine. We have 4 schools in Chicago that my wife and I and others founded. Preschool, 2K through 8, and the high school, serving over 1,000 children a day from the poorest black communities in Chicago. I want to bring you greetings from the other institutions I'm involved in, but the National Conference of Artists, which is the oldest group of black artists in the country, which was co-founded by Dr. Margaret Burroughs. And so I'm really happy to be here, but Ralph Ellison, I met Ralph Ellison once. On my way to Iowa to speak at a university there, and he was on his way to Iowa. We were on the same plane. So I gathered enough nerve, this is back in the 60s, I gathered enough nerve to go up and say hello to him. And he looked at me and said hello, and went back to read his book. I understood that. But he played another important part of my life that is critical. At the age of 26, 27, I was appointed to be the first black writer in residence at Cornell University. Because I did not have a terminal degree, they didn't want to give credit to the students for taking my course. And I said, well, I'm not coming. I'm not leaving Chicago, going all the way to New York to teach a non-credit course. It didn't make any sense to me. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to you, all right? So the top professors and the chair of the department, the English department, said, okay, well, we need to talk to you about this literature, black literature. I said, fine. All right. I'm leaving a lot out, but we went to this big room at Cornell University, and the master white professors there, and pictures on the wall, past presidents of the mansion. I'm sitting at this big table. There's 5 senior members of the Department of English at Cornell University. And their task was to talk to me or to drill me and find out the extent of my knowledge about black literature. Now, I had served 3 years in the United States Army in between wars. And I took that time to intimately study our literature, reading close to a book a day, and writing a 250-word essay on each book that I read. And so in 1968, this was between 1960 and 1963, I was well read. And so these guys started questioning me about this literature. And it was very clear to me they had only read 2 books, Native Son and Invisible Man. All right? So I got this. I know I have it. All right? They go around the first round of questioning. I answer the question about Native Son, Invisible Man, boom, boom, boom. And so they go around the second round of questioning. And after I answer the question about Native Son, I ask the questioner, what about this in Shadow and Act? Pull out the essay, start talking about it. The guy couldn't answer the question. I got it. Go around to the next guy. He asked me a question about, say, Native Son. So I asked a question about Black Boy, White Man Listen. He could not answer the question. The third guy is the chairman of the department. So he saw exactly where I'm coming from. I'm just waiting on him. I'm going to jump into him good, okay? We'll say, Mr. Lee, welcome to Cornell. Now, why is this story important? It's important because reading, understanding the language, not being afraid of the language is critical. It's important. You are what you read. And so, what I want to share with you this afternoon, some of this you've never heard before, I can guarantee you. But let me first thank Dr. Burns, Dean Bradwell, for allowing me and inviting me to come to your beautiful campus. I've been here once before, back in the 70s. Probably most of you weren't even born. Except us two. And there was a professor here by the name of Marlene Mosher. She was in the English department. I was teaching at Howard University then. And She came, she called and said, can I come and talk to you and sit in your classes at Howard? She's assistant professor here. It was Tuskegee Institute at that time. I said, yes, come on in. Anyway, she stayed the entire semester. And rather than write a paper, she wrote a book, New Direction from Don L. Lee. And this was a professor here. And then after the book was published, she invited me here to speak to young people at that time. So I have a really deep, deep feeling for this university. Before I start, I want to, since you've given me a gift, I want to give you a gift. I own the oldest black book publishing company in the world. I own it. I'm not renting it from nobody. The property that is located on, we own it. We're not leasing it. All right? I got that from Booker T. Washington. You own it. All right? We're going to make a gift to your library. Every book that Third World Press has published in its 46 years. You will receive from us, Dr. Burns just had to give you where to send it. Every book that Third World Press has published, and every book that will come out in the future from Third World Press will be a gift to this wonderful university.